Hi, friends. It is Friday, January 10th, 2025. My name is Barb, and this is my fifth Flosstube video. Now, I originally filmed this last week, went through the whole video. It was well over an hour. And when I went to post the video, I recognized that my tablet broke it down into approximately 33-minute segments. And I hit 3 segments and I said, I don't know how to fix that. So I did what any rational woman would do and shut everything off and said, I'll deal with it later. So I initially, like I said, I filmed last week and figured, you know what, I'm not going to redo the video. I didn't have time last Friday. So put it off till today because there were so many other things going on. So anyway, this is Flosstube number 5. My name is Barb. I am a long arm quilter, seamstress, and cross stitch has been one of my lifelong hobbies. I, as many other people did, came back really strong when we experienced our little 2020 COVID, right? A lot of us found that we needed our hobbies or things like that to really be able to focus our attention elsewhere, even through closed doors. They're loud. Anyway, so we needed some place to put our focus, and we all know what we all went through, right? So yes, I have been cross-stitching since I was a teen. I did a lot of cross-stitching back in the 80s when my kids were little because I needed decorations, right? I had 4 kids. There was no way that I was going to have that extra income to just go and buy stuff to make my house pretty. So I made a lot of things. And I know back, maybe it was my second video, that I showed you some of my whips from the 90s, right? Some of those things that I still have that I have not worked on. So this has been something that I have always used as an outlet. Even when I was at the highlight of making wedding dresses and bridal wear and formal wear and christening dresses and communion dresses, I always had an out, right? I always had some place that I could let my brain focus away from the main project that I was working on. Like I said, I used to make wedding dresses, right? And bridesmaids dresses and all of that stuff. So I needed the out, and it was cross stitch. It was also quilting. My quilting then became my main focus after I really stopped doing all of the formal wear, because that got to a point. If you want to hear that story, message me. I'll tell you one of the reasons why I got out of formal wear, making garments and working consignment for bridal shops. That's a whole other path we can go down. But anyway, so quilting then became my main focus, and that has been turned now into my small business where I do long arm quilting for clients. I also do a lot of memory items like memory bears, pillows, stuffies, memory quilts. But cross stitch has remained, whether it's in the forefront where I'm working every day on a piece, or where I pick up something maybe once every few months. Cross stitch has always been there for me. Okay. So what I have been doing, I can honestly say now that, just sitting here looking at some of my projects, I cross stitch at least 5 days a week, sometimes 7. It really depends on what is going on with the past holiday season. And you can still see maybe in the background, I am still decorated for Christmas. I usually wait until the Feast of the Three Kings before I start taking things down. So that's going to be where I'm going to be at this weekend. So, with holidays and things like that, I might not get to pick up a project on a day, or I might just say, you know what, I have time to put in one thread. So I do try to cross stitch on a daily basis, but at least 5 days a week I am working on a project. So let me get into what it is that I am working on right now. I do have a snow day stitch because I am located just outside of Buffalo, New York. I am in a little town called West Seneca. It's not little, but it is the town of West Seneca. Lake Erie is a stone's throw that way. I know you can't tell. Listen, I'm very directionally challenged. When I was in grammar school, the nuns, because I did go to Catholic grammar schools, they always said north is where your nose points. So in any direction that I turn is north. Ask my kids. I need specifics. Don't tell me to go north. Tell me the landmarks. So Lake Erie is still not frozen. So we get a lot of snow here. But I can say this past couple weeks, it's been very cold. I mean, not extreme cold. It's only, it's been in the teens, 13, 17 degrees. Today it's a heat wave. It's 25. No, excuse me. It's 27 with a real feel of 32. Okay. So we do get a lot of snow. Now, if I am outside and I literally see one snowflake, it's a snow stitch day for me, right? So on my snow stitch days, I will stitch one thread. So what I am working on, and I've shown this before multiple times, it is by Heart and Hand, and it is called Wee Santa. So this is the pattern. The reason I chose this is because the flowers look like quilt blocks. Now I am stitching this on a piece of something that popped out of my stash. I don't know what it is. And I've said multiple times, I truly believe it might be a hardanger, something for hardanger. I'm warning you right now, I do not press my pieces and I keep my needles in my piece. So that's what I do. Do what works for you. So this is my little guy, and I am actually stitching this with one thread. And the reason I am doing that is because I like that look. I like the primitive look of it. So yesterday, because I did not pick up, I was working on a couple other things. I think I put in 2 threads yesterday. And because there are so many thread changes in this, how I work on it is when I figure out 2 threads is 2 threads or 1 thread is 1 thread. It's how I decide, right? So I've also determined, because I do, like I said, I do like this primitive look. I'm also curious to see what it would look like stitched with 2 threads. Now I am stitching 1 thread over 2 on this. I don't even know what the count is on this fabric. So I think when I get done with it, I'm going to do maybe 1 thread or maybe 2 on another piece. I don't know. I don't know, but I'm going to stitch it a second time just to see what the difference is. Now, it is difficult to see the white flowers and the white of his beard. And that is why I'm choosing to do it, to stitch it again as a second snow stitch, because like I said, we get snow here in Buffalo through May at times. So I'm going to do it again and either do it on a smaller count, 1 over 1, or do 2 threads over 2 and just see the difference. I don't know. We'll see what happens when I get to it. So this is my snow day stitch. It is Wee Santa by Heart and Hand. And I'm really enjoying it. So the next thing that I have been working on is called Snow Globe. Now I have mentioned previously that I was doing an exchange in the Facebook group across the pond. So my recipient really enjoyed Shepherd's Bush patterns. So I found this Shepherd's Bush pattern. It's called Winter Trifles. And what I stitched for her was the snowflake. I stitched it in 2 different sizes. I stitched it 1 over 2 maybe, I think. And then I also stitched it 1 over 1. So they were the same, but obviously they looked different because of how I stitched them. So I looked at this pattern. Now she also, in her in her notations said that she didn't want any patterns or floss or anything like that. Otherwise, I would have sent her this pattern. So what I'm working on right now is Snow Globe, and that is the two little snowmen. And I am stitching this on a piece of Aida from my stash. Okay, and that's it right there. And I'm using the called for DMC because, you know, I did do a thread floss drop and everything looked like it would be fine. So that is something else that I'm working on. And I'm also going to do the top piece. It says we shall have snow. Okay, I'm going to do that one too, because why not, right? And then when I get done with this pattern, I'm probably just going to pass it along. It is a really cute pattern, and it does call for some buttons, and I think they might be from just another, yeah, they are from Jabco, but I don't think I'm going to use those. I'm sure that I have something that I can find. They're just like little birds and hearts and stuff like that, and I am sure if I dig through my stash, I'll find something, even if it's not buttons, right? Just little accents. So this is where I've gotten on Snow Globe. Of course, I had to frog it a couple of times because counting is hard. And I looked at my little guy snowman here the one night, and I said, why is his head so far off to the side? Took it apart, fixed it. No big deal, right? No big deal. We all do those things. So that's the second piece that I have been working on. Now, mind you, because I had originally filmed this last Friday, I worked on those that particular previous week, and I've also still continued to work on these. Now, my next piece, and I just worked on this again last night. Oh my God, I love this. I love this. You know, I have listened to a lot of Flosstubers the past couple weeks, and so many of us say, oh my God, I love this piece. Americana Red by October House. Now I am making changes to this. You'll see that I have changed the shape of the roof on that house. I am also not going to be stitching the cherries along the bottom. I'm going to be making changes there because I don't care for the cherries in this. I am using Classic Colorworks Licorice Red. And let me pull out my stitch card to let you know what I'm actually stitching on, because I do use the library card system that Lori Holt speaks of. Well, it would be helpful if I wrote down what I'm actually doing. Oh, goodness me. Well, it is a Lugana. I'm pretty sure I've mentioned before what it is, but here's my work. Slowly pan through the camera, or maybe just hold it back a little bit with my eyes peering over the top, like, who was that little character? Kilroy, right? Kilroy was here. So as you can see, I have changed, I'm probably sounding muffled. I have changed the top shape of the house. I put in December 2nd for my birthday. And I will be going along. I just finished up the second row of alphabet last night. I got up to the W. So tonight I will be coming along and bringing down, I have 3 more motifs that are going to come down the side. And where that last motif lands is where I'm going to end my design. And then I will figure out from there exactly where or what I'm going to do. But I know I'm not going to do the cherries on there. I do have this in a bag that I have made. This is out of some Lori Holt fabric. And then I had somebody gifted me these little pieces that were supposed to be used in a mug rug. And I put it into my bag. So I did make this bag. And I found these, somebody on Flosstube, not sure who it was, might have been Karen, the recovering monogamous stitcher. She might have spoken about these, but they are luggage tags, and I found them on Amazon. So I just have it slipped in, and then I write the name of my project on the bag. Not that, I need to keep track like that, but I might have more than a dozen bags sitting there in whatever project I'm working on. So I just thought that that was helpful for me. Next, I am also working on, and this again, I have mentioned that, I wanted to start this on January 1st, and I did, is Americana Blue. It is a companion piece, also by October House. Now, I have no intention of changing this. Up in the corner, you see where it says 23, and I'm guessing that is the year that this was stitched. So I might put 25 in there because I have all high hopes of finishing this year. It's not that big of a piece. I am using Weeks Dye Works blue jeans for the color. And again, I have set a goal for myself for doing at least 5 strands in a week. So if I'm stitching 5 days a week, I try to put in 1 strand. The problem is when I get started on this, I really don't want to stop. I cannot tell you how much. So the only other change I would make is down in the box at the bottom, you see initials RS. I will probably put my initials in there just because we need to label our products, or not our products, our projects. I do the same with my quilts. I do put labels on my quilts just because, right? So I am stitching Americana Blue. I started it on the 1st of the year, on January 1st, 2025. I'm stitching on 36 count Chocolate Milk by Seraphim, and oh, do I love the color of this fabric. Again, I am using blue jeans by Weeks Dye Works. I am stitching 1 strand over 2. Let me give you an idea of what my piece looks like here. And I do have my pieces. I'm just using like the quilting clips and attaching it to my bag. Just works better for me. I don't have design boards. Those are on my list of things to make, right? So this is my progress so far, and you can see that it is very light. I was a little concerned with that, with some of the lightness in the threads, but I believe that overall, once I go through this and as I'm stitching, like this particular design goes across the whole top. So when I go to pick my next thread, or when I pull my next thread, I will start with the darker end, so that when I start stitching here, the darker end of the thread will be in line. So that is my Americana Blue. Next, what I have been stitching on, I purchased for myself, oh goodness, this fell out. I think that goes in Snow Globe. I purchased for myself the Missouri Star Quilt Company Christmas box, or Advent box, whatever you want to call it. Usually it comes out in July for pre-order, and then it's delivered sometime in November, sometimes late October, but I've been doing it for a few years now, and there's a package to open every day from December 1st until December 25th. So that is my present to me, one of my presents to me. So one of the items in the box this year was embroidery. Now, honestly, to be very honest with you, I started with embroidery when I was a kid, 9-10 years old, something like that. My mother used to embroider, and that is where I started, was with embroidery. And then I was just, and then moved into cross stitch. So this particular pattern is called Snowflake. Do I have a full picture of what it looks like? Yes, I do. So this is what it looks like. Sorry, it's folded in my bag. This is the pattern. And it is pre-printed. And this is what I take when I go to Roswell, when I have my appointments at Roswell. So it goes very quickly, and there are some beads on here. Now, I'm actually starting my radiation treatments on Monday, on the 13th. And I'll be going for radiation treatments for 3 weeks. I have 15 appointments. It's 5 days a week. The only day I have off is Martin Luther King Day. So I will take this with me. And even if I just get a little bit done, it's fine. It does go very quickly. I'm also, once I get done with taking this with me to Roswell, I will probably take this as a car project, like when my husband drives. Sometimes I just, like to keep my hands busy. Personally, I feel that I need to, at the end of the day, have something tangible that I can see that I've done. Whether it's making soup, like today, I'm going to make minestrone. Oh, it tastes so good. Cleaning, organizing, taking down Christmas decorations, sewing, quilting, cross-stitching, whatever. At the end of the day, I feel I need to have something tangible to look at, to say that this is what I did today. That's just me. I've been that way forever, right? I don't like to just sit and do nothing. Yes, there are those days that I need that whole mental, like I can't focus. I can't even stitch. I can't count. Actually, last night was one of those. I did work on Americana Red. I also worked on my snow day stitch, and I miscounted on both of them. Americana Red does have a mistake in it now. It's going to stay because I am not unpicking an entire letter because I was one thread over. Nobody's going to know. Well, you know now. Okay, I challenge you to find it. Go ahead. We'll talk about it later, okay? I did have a finish, and this is something that I am stitching as a gift for my sister-in-law, and I can tell this because my sister-in-law actually, I don't think anybody in my family watches my videos. So this is called Christmas Barn, and I've shown this before. I have stitched this for myself, and I turned it into a pillow. I have shown this already. And I think what I'm going to do for my sister-in-law, she has a long bench in her little hallway, and I might turn it into a longer pillow. I don't know. It depends on what I can find for the stuffing. In my pillow, I actually had found a pillow in the junk aisle at Target, and I don't shop at Target. Very rarely do I shop at Target. But I found that a few years ago in like the cheap section, and I used that pillow as a pillow form for my pillow. So I'm going to look through my stash and see if I have pillow forms or old pillows, because I'll do that. If I'm in a store and I see a funky shaped pillow, not just your standard square pillow that you can buy the forms for, but a long pillow or something like that, I will buy it, and then that becomes my pillow form for a project. So here is my Christmas barn. It is finished. One thing that I am going to do, if you see down in the corner, you see where I just put my initial B, and I'm going to use my charms, which I will show you in my, my personal purchases. But one thing I did in my own pillow, and I'm going to go back and do this in hers, is I'm going to put her address, just her house number, in the barn. I did that on mine, and I thought, oh, I'm going to do that. So I might even pick out my initial, because I don't think that it is big enough, or it's in the proper place. It's okay size-wise, but I don't think it's in the proper place for me to put the year charms. Now, I get these off of Amazon, and there's a bunch of them in here. I think there's like 100 maybe. I don't even know. I still have some 2023s and 2024s. So, hey, look, if you're looking for charms to add onto your pieces, message me. I will gladly send you some little charms. See how tiny these little guys are? It's not even going to focus. There we go. So where I want to put this on this piece, I can't even pick it up to show you. It's literally going to cover my initial. So I'm contemplating if I just want to take it and hang it off of the piece with like a rusty, like those little rusty looking safety pins, and maybe just put my initials. I'm not sure. This is a decision for future me when I actually go to finish this, because it's not a decision I can make right now. Let me ask you this. Let's talk about decisions. I truly believe there is something called decision fatigue. I haven't looked it up. I don't want to take the time. Do you get to a point at the end of the day, or do you get to a point on a piece that you're working where you can't make any more decisions, that you're just done? You sit there and you look at it like, do I want to stitch it this way? Do I want to stitch it that way? I don't know if it is a true thing, but I get to the point where I can't make any more decisions. If I go down into my sewing studio, and I have been going down there to do some organizing and cleaning because, with going through cancer and surgery and everything else, I've had limited physical limitations and also emotional and mental limitations as to getting work done. So I've been getting to the point where I can't make any more decisions. I stand there and I look around and I don't know what to do next, right? I can't pick a task to do next. So one of the things that I actually have, I also found it on Amazon, and I found it a few years ago. It's a cube. It's a timer, but it's a cube. And each side of the cube, all four sides and the top, have different times, like 60 minutes, 30 minutes, 15 minutes. And you turn the cube to how much time you want to spend. Sometimes I can do a full 60 minutes and I'll say, I'm going to set my timer for 60 minutes and I'm going to make decisions about what I need to do in that time. Sometimes I can't do more than 15 minutes. And it's getting to the point where I'm like, I say to myself, I can't do anymore. I can't make any more decisions. And then I will sit down with a cross stitch piece. More times than not, it's Americana red, because I don't have to make a decision as to what color do I want to work next and where do I want to go next. I'm pretty much working those pieces, Americana red and Americana blue, from left to right. And it's helping in a sense that I don't have to make the decision. All I have to do is count. But last night, counting was hard. So my decision fatigue has caused me to not make a choice as to how I want to put my initials on there and where I want to put the piece or the charm. But I can say it is all coming back to how I want to finish this pillow. If I have a long pillow form, then that will help my decision-making process. If I only have a 12 or 14-inch pillow form, that too is going to hinder my decision-making process. Okay, so as far as my whips, I do have a lot of them, and I am not doing a whip parade because I have so many that go back into the 90s that I'm going to be pulling them out one at a time, or maybe two at a time in future videos, just to show you what they are. And honestly, some of them I have not touched for years. So I'm focusing on what I've just shown you. And then I'm also going to be starting, this is actually a sale that starts today. And this is through the Across the Pond Facebook group. Before I joined the group, there were some charts that were posted that, they voted on which one would you like to do as an upcoming sale. So this is the one that was chosen. It's by Lottie Da. It's called One Stitch at a Time. And I know I've shown this on every video that I've done. This sale actually starts today. Now I really enjoy this design. but I am not a bird person. So the birds that are up in this tree here, I can't see. The birds that are up in this tree here, I'm probably not going to stitch. If you look at the tree on the opposite side of the house, you'll see where the flowers are at the top of the tree. More than likely, that is what I'm going to do. There are also a couple little birdies at the base of the tree. I might put those in, or I might use that space for my initials, because if you see over here on this side here, you see the bird and you see initials with 2 hearts. I might change that for my initials and the year. I don't know. But I do know that this particular sale does start today. And I'm just going to sneak out of the picture for a minute because I literally dropped it on the floor. Now I am using the called for colors. I did not purchase the fabric because I wanted to pull from stash. So what I ended up doing was getting the colors and then doing a floss drop to see what would work nicely with my fabric. And I'm thinking this is going to be okay. Now that DMC is light, but when I did the floss drop and I looked at my, these are really smushy together. Let's see if I can move them a little bit more. When I looked at where that particular color was going to be placed in the design, it's going to be fine. It's going to be mixed in. I do love that blue there. That blue is, what is it called? Teal Frost. Love teal. Teal is one of my favorite colors. So, oops, lost my DMC. So where it is, it's going to be fine in the design. So I am using 36 counts Weigart Edinburgh linen, Rocky Mountain, the color of Rocky Mountain, and I'm using all of the Weeks Dye Works as well as that piece of DMC that was called for. So this actually starts today. I have not set up my linen. Now, normally I stitch in hand. I used to stitch in a hoop all the time. Thought that was the only way you could do it, right? What I am finding is that obviously on Ada, it's stiff enough that you don't have to. Some of the Lugana is good enough. Now, I have been a seamstress for over 50 years, right? I started sewing when I was about 12 years old, so, and I'm 65. I know I've mentioned that in previous videos. I'm very good with tension, is my point. I know how to give my work good tension. So I don't have a problem when I'm stitching on linen or Ada or Lugana, but there are some linens that are just floppy. This is floppy. And it's also 36 count. So I think what I'm going to end up using a hoop. I have to find one. I did buy some Nerge hoops, and I'm not a fan of them. But I think in this instance, I'm going to find a hoop to work with. I got to do that today because I do want to start this tonight, even if I just put in one strand. So I think because my piece of linen is going to be close in size, I think I'm actually going to start the house. I'm going to start in the center and work on the house. I think that's going to be my plan. And again, looking at that light color in the windows of the house, that is going to be the window panes in the house. That's going to be my DMC. So in all honesty, looking at that, I might even take a look. I might have to fill in those windows with something else, maybe a very light color that would represent maybe the interior colors. Who knows? We'll see, right? So if you are a member of the group, the Across the Pond group on Facebook, This does start today. They are encouraging everybody to post pictures, obviously, as we all do in our sales. So I'm sure that, you can always hop on over there. And one of the gals in the group did break down the patterns so that the sale can be worked on. I'm not even sure how long it runs for, but a sale runs for however long you need it to, correct? You can work it however it works for you. So that is going to be my new start. I also did look at a couple of other things that I keep telling myself don't start, but I like to have the small projects, especially things on Ada. If I have a night where I just, you just can't focus, and you do want to stitch and it's something easy, Ada is my go-to, right? One of my projects working on Ada is my go-to. So there are a couple things that I'm contemplating starting, and I'll chat about that in a minute. So my personal presents, I think all of us, and also one of my very good stitchy friends, we said, we're not buying anything. 2025 is going to be a no-buy year. We're going to work from stash, blah, blah, blah. 3 days in, I bought stuff. And a couple days later, I bought stuff. And I bought stuff again the other day. And I'm going to show you later what I actually brought home yesterday. So it fell by the wayside for me. And that's okay. Right? It's okay. What I did get for Christmas was a tablet so that I could use Pattern Keeper. I wanted to try Pattern Keeper. Well, lo and behold, all of the PDFs that I have purchased, they don't transfer over. They transfer over per se. But what's happening is the color key and the symbol key is not transferring over. So I can't really use Pattern Keeper on my tablet the way I thought. The patterns that I bought were Primrose Cottage. I love those ladies. I watched them again last night. I didn't get to watch the live yesterday, but I did watch it last night. And I absolutely love their Valentine's patterns. And I want to purchase the one that says, I think it says Home Sweet Home. I think that's what it says. And I want to get it PDF, but it's not available yet. So I found that the Primrose Cottage patterns are not transferring for Pattern Keeper. And I did email them and did get a response that says, well, sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I can still stitch off of the PDF on my tablet because they are smaller patterns in a sense as compared to, like Americana Red, Americana Blue. So right now I've kind of my tablet to the side until I can really figure out what I want to do with that. So that was a Christmas gift. And honestly, Pattern Keeper, when you buy the app, it was like $10, a one-time purchase. It's not something that you have to renew. I don't have Apple products. I am not an iPhone person. I don't care for iPhones. That's just my own personal. I am an Android user. I've been that way since I got my first phone, right? One of the things that I do not like about iPhones is the opportunity that presents to people when you're in a group text of 30 some people or 20 some people and 90% of them have iPhones and they like every text. So-and-so liked. So-and-so changed their like to love. I hate to tell you how many unread messages I have on my phone from a group that uses iPhones and likes and hearts and laughs at or whatever every single text. And if one text comes out and there's 15 people that like it, so literally what I do is I wait a few days and then I go and I open up the text to clear out the X amount of messages that are sitting there unread because. So anyway, that's just my rant and that's me and that's okay. I'm allowed to have that say, right? Okay. So one of the things that I did buy was called the Button Tree and it's by the Drawn Thread. And I don't think I have a picture of it because I did try the PDF and that also did not transfer over for me. Or did it? Now I can't remember. But the reason I bought it was because a friend of mine said, oh my gosh, Barb, I've been watching you with your cross stitching and I'm going to try it. Now, my particular friend is a quilter and she stopped her long arm business and sent me a good portion of her clients. So I said, okay, that's great. And she showed me what she bought. So I said, okay, I'm going to buy that too. And maybe I did buy it and it just hasn't come in yet. I might have bought it on 1, 2, 3 Stitch again. Like I said, I was going to have a no buy and I did it anyway. So I have recently purchased some things on Hobby House Needleworks website, which are coming, and I will show you them because I'm really excited about it. And then I do have an order from 1, 2, 3 Stitch coming. I forgot what I bought. It'll get here. I'll show it on one of my others. So again, now I know I mentioned about the sale that's starting with the Across the Pond group. Excuse me 1 second. It's time for a drink. One of the other things, and I know I mentioned the exchange. Let me show you what I got as an exchange. Now I showed you that I stitched those little snowflake ornaments. This is what I got from my exchange partner. And it's a flat fold. Isn't this gorgeous? Look at. See the beads on there? And the trees in the background are tent stitches. I've never done a flat fold because I would be afraid that it wouldn't be even. This is so pretty. And I'm actually going to keep this up through the winter because this is technically, in my opinion, not for Christmas. It's just, you know, it can sit out with the winter themed items. So to me, the beads represent snowflakes, pine trees, and you know, this is our area. This is snowy. This is what it is. I was just so excited to receive this. And she also sent a few other goodies. She sent some Ada, or this is actually Lucana. Might be Ada. Very tiny count. I don't know what the count of this is, but it is a very pretty mottled blue. I don't know what kind of, you know, who the designer is, or the dyer, I should say, but it is very pretty. And I got a couple of other goodies. And something else that she sent me was this, just trying to make sure I don't show, I'll go like this. She sent me this floss, this hank of floss, and the fabric. Now this fabric is sparkly. I don't know if you can see the sparkle in it, but this Mo's floss, which I've never heard of this, and this is the first time I'm seeing it. Look at this hank. I believe there's 100 yards, and this is how it is dyed. So this is going to be an interesting piece to work with. It's very pretty, very bright. And then this is, I want to say this is an XJU design because I believe I have something similar to it. I don't know, but it is mottled, and you can see, can you see the little sparklies in it? Now I thought that I would use this floss with this, and I will use one strand so it won't be as boom in your face, right? And what I'm going to stitch is this. I'm going to cover up some of that pattern. I love Quakers. One of my whips is, and I believe I might have shown it in one of my first videos, is, oh gosh, I can't think of what the name of it is right off the top of my head, but it is the male and the female turkey with the pumpkins. I'm actually going to go back in my notes. The Gobbletins. It's called the Gobbletins, and I know there was a series of them with the different holidays. So, and I know that I'm stitching that on the fabric that has the pumpkins on it. And one of the reasons I stopped stitching on that was because once I realized that my turkeys are not really going to cover that whole area, I'm going to have to stitch something else in the top. But I love the Quakers on that design. And I think what I might go back and do is just pull from this book. And if you have not seen this book, it is called Quaker Samplers. Somebody showed it, obviously, on Flosstube, and I hopped on Amazon and I found it. I'm just so in awe of some of the designs in this book, and I don't want to go through because there's a lot of obviously the patterns are shown with it, and I don't want to break the spine of my book. But if there's just so many in here that I really think that would look really cute with this, with the yellow and the green, or the orange and the green. Again, one thread over, possibly one thread over two. I think that the colors would be very subtle in this because, again, as I said, it's very bright and in your face together as they normally are. But once you start separating those strands of floss, gosh, I think it's going to be so pretty. And I've noticed that with the floss for my Americana blue, like I just talked about, how it's a little light in spots, and I'm okay with that because I can maneuver my other pieces of floss to be darker next to it so that it shows up. Okay, so let's go back to my list because I am trying with my list here to not get off topic. So I did get my book of days. One of the things that I did do on New Year's Eve was do my stickers. Now it's funny because where are we? We are on the 10th. I only wrote 2 days in here, but I do know what I've stitched. I've been pretty much stitching the same thing. So I did sticker up my book here just for January, and I did start putting stickers in for February and for March. I also have my personal calendar that I use. So I did do some stickering in, you know, I went through the book here and I did put some stickers in because I do like to use something to keep track. What I would absolutely love is a master book. And I know Stitching with B and T, is that her? I love her. I do enjoy watching her floss tubes. She does do one a month. I'm actually going to go back because I know I mentioned her. Mentioned her in a previous floss tube, and she actually called me out too, which is kind of fun, you know, to hear you being mentioned by another floss tuber. But anyway, she talked about in one of her videos where she has her master calendar book, and that's what she uses. That is what she was going to try to do this year, I believe. And I wish I could come up with something like that. And I honestly think I would need a binder. You know what? I have an order coming in from Riley Blake, and they are the Lori Holt binders, and I'm going to use those, and put them in my shop, but my Etsy shop. But taking a binder and breaking it down, you know, with your personal calendar and maybe a cross stitch, I think I'm on to something. I think I'm going to have to think about this. Put it in my planner, right? Anyway, so using my book of days to help me to see where I'm at really is encouraging to me because, yes, I can look at the pieces that I've stitched, but I also want to know how much time I've spent on something because I don't know anybody. Maybe you do. I don't keep track of the actual amount of physical time that I spend. I also do not count my stitches. I can't do that. It's overwhelming to me. I know how much time on average it takes me to put together like a memory bear, right? But I'm not exact about it because I get sidetracked. I don't know I don't know what it is, but you can just hear me. You can hear me when I'm talking, I'm off on tangents. So if I sit down to do a specific project and say, okay, it's taking me X amount of time to do this step to this step, I have to take a break and walk away and do something else because something is calling to me, right? My mind is like, oh, I got to go check this or I got to go check that. So for me, to keep actual amount of time as to how long something is taking me, like stitching on Americana Red, I don't know the actual physical minutes or hours, but I can come back and say, I spent this amount of days, this many days. Now, does that mean I spent 4 hours stitching? It could be, or it could have been an hour, right? So for me, keeping track, I like to look at those books of days because I can see where I actually physically touched the project. So that's what works for me. Now, something else that I have also been going through, I know a lot of people talked about their UFOs. There's been a couple people that have mentioned about what they're going to be getting rid of. And one of them is a UFO that I started a few years ago. And it's great. I love it. And I know I spent a lot of time figuring this out when the pattern first came out. And they're still being done. And it's a temperature chart. Now, when I started mine, I even have all of my flosses. I broke them down by temperature. I have everything in here. These are my colors. They're in numerical order. I sort my floss by number. I don't sort by color. So I have all of my floss in here, and I broke this down to give me the widest temperature range because here in my area, we can go from 0 to in the 90s. I have a very wide range. So I started this Galaxy temperature. Let me see if I can put something behind it because it's with the black, right? I started this Galaxy temperature in, I want to say it's for 2022. Yeah. And I have finished up through June. Now there's a mistake in here. And I know that. And honestly, it is so much. You can't see it. But it is, it's just like I'm one square off. But the colors, they're so bright and vivid. You can see like this is, the brighter colors, the yellows, the oranges, the reds. That's obviously my summer months. The blues are the cold, right? So it's so cool, but it is so time consuming because not only when this is done, do I have to go back and put the beads in because there are a lot of bead decorations. It was getting to the point that I couldn't do the beading while I was doing it because I'm using a scroll. Let me pull this back up here. If you look closely you'll see the openings in some of the stitches. There's a square that's open. That's where the beads go. So I would literally have to come back and do all of the beading. I am not going to finish this. I know I'm not. This is not my style. I don't know where I would have put it. It just is not something that's going to work for me any longer. I love it. I love how the colors are really just showing the whole area here. So I'm not going to finish it. But what I am going to do is this temperature Quaker. Now, I purchased this a couple years ago by the Stitching Mommy. And it is a Quaker temperature design. Now, this is something that I would hang. This does not scream, oh, I don't even know what the word is I want to look for. This fits in. It has flowers. It has things to me that remind me of quilt blocks. This is more my style. I don't know about the lettering in here. It does have all of the lettering in here. If you look again, I don't know what I'm going to do there. I might just put in the initials of, the first initials of my family members, my grandkids. I don't know. I might leave it off. I don't know, but if I left it off, it's going to have empty spaces. I could put in just little tiny motifs, like there's a bird in here. I'm not a bird fan. I could put in motifs of like little scissors, pin cushions, things like that. That might be a really good idea. Now, as I said, I already have all of my temperatures broken down. I've done that already. I did it for my temperature Quaker. So I know what my range is for the colors. So this can be started at any time. This would be a great 2025 start. I probably would just do this on a Lugana. So, it is a pretty decent stitch count, 126 by 156. If I did a 14 count fabric, it would be a 9 by 11. I might go with 18 count because I'm comfortable with 18 count. I do like 18 count. And then it becomes a 7 by 8. So it's not overwhelming, right? And again, something like this would be very easy to turn into a wall hanging or even a pillow. So my temperature, my Galaxy temperature is going to go bye-bye. I honestly don't know what I'm going to do with this piece. I'm not going to finish it. I'm going to put this behind it again here. I'm not going to finish it. It is on Black Ada. I'm sure I can cut the Black Ada out, cut around the design or whatever, and I'm not going to worry about that. But this is going to be another start for me. I think when I get done today, I'm going to go upstairs and look for some fabric to work on. So that is going to be one UFO that is going, it's gone. Here we go. I'm at an hour and I'm still not done. Good Lord. And my coffee's cold. So let me talk to you about the everything old is new again, right? I've mentioned way too many times already that I have been doing this for a long, long time, as I'm sure a lot of you are, or you've known somebody in your family that has, and you've stitched things that are old. Now, when my kids were little, as I mentioned, I did a lot of plastic canvas and cross-stitching and crochet just to make things, to make my house more cozy, right? You want to save money. So a couple of the pieces that I stitched were kits. I believe these were kits because I remember the frames that they came in because I literally just took them out of the frames. This I stitched. I'm actually going to grab myself a little clip here so I can show you what I'm looking at. This little bunny girl I stitched in 1992. You can see my initials at the bottom there, 1992. She was in a pink frame. You can see where I washed her recently and the red started to run around the back stitching on the outside. Okay, so it ran, right? If you look close enough, I don't know if maybe you can see it, but the fabric is dingy. It yellowed. I don't put glass in my pieces. I do have a couple of pieces here. Then I think I'll show you. I actually packed them away for Christmas because I decorate everything, right? So, but I don't put glass, or I didn't put glass in my pieces. So I stitched her. And then the following year in 1993, I stitched the other kit, the little boy, and he fared much better when I washed them. There wasn't any red. The purple did not run. So, and we all know that, DMC, the red, had a tendency to do that. But I look at these little pieces and I think, well, now, I want to do something with them. I'm okay that they ran. It doesn't bother me. They need to be refinished. This would be a really cute little Easter project. So what I'm going to do now, again, everything old is new again. And my intention this year, even though I've already made purchases, is to try to go back and use what I have. Okay? Do you remember her? Do you remember Irma Bombeck? Oh my gosh. I'm almost positive she had a column in the newspaper. Good old Irma. And if I'm not mistaken, and I didn't check this, and I certainly wouldn't want to say things that are incorrect, I believe she might have passed from cancer. I don't know. I should check that. I loved her. Okay, I have quite a few of her books. So what I thought I was going to do, I don't even have do I have? Yes, and this is why I want to keep this book. I got this book for my 36th birthday from my mother. I wrote in there. But my mother gave this book to me for my 36th birthday in December of 1995. This book means something to me. When you lose a parent, now my mother and I were probably half of our lives oil and water. But she was my mother. I'm an only child. My parents divorced when I was very young. My mother remarried later in life. But my mother was my only person, right? So, of course, you know, and you might even see it with your own children, that who is the one person that will take your guff and your snottiness and I was a snotty kid. I'm not going to lie. I'm an only child. I never learned how to share, and I still don't very well. My husband asks me all the time. I'm like, I'm an only child. I don't know how to share, right? I was snotty. I was nasty. I acted out. I'm a child of the 60s, right? I was raised in the 60s, and with parents of divorce, it was difficult. I mean, there's stories, right? There's stories. But anyway, even though my mother and I at times were oil and water, because I think every girl, every female is going to have a time with their mother. And if you don't, I don't believe you. Your mother should not be your best friend, because you shouldn't tell your mother everything, right? There should be some things that you shouldn't tell your mother. Your mother's always going to be in your corner. So if you've done something wrong, your mother's going to be telling you didn't, or sticking up for you, right? That's just my opinion. Oh, we don't want to go down that rabbit hole. Anyway, so my mother gave me this book, and this past Christmas when I was wrapping gifts from Santa for the grandchildren, when your parent passes away, you think, there's that your mother is the one who's known you the longest. Obviously, she carried you, she birthed you, right? So I found, when I was wrapping presents for my grandkids, a Christmas tag that says, "To Barb from Mom." Now, to me, that was one of the best Christmas gifts I got this year, because do I feel guilty about being nasty to my mother at times? Of course I do. Who wouldn't, right? Who wouldn't? How many times have I walked around since my mother passed away 6 years ago? Ma, I am so sorry for being such a snot and being nasty. Oh my gosh. And you don't realize it till you get older. Now, I loved my mother. I know my mother loved me. I would have moved heaven and earth for my mother, right? My mother, I moved her in my home the year before she passed, because there was no way I was very capable of taking care of my mother. She had her mental faculties. She was just frail. Okay. She had some health issues, but there was no way that I was going to let her live alone. Okay. So my mother moved in here, and there were some difficult times, and I understand what she went through, having to leave her home and come to mine. And I only see that now. Okay, so if you are dealing with an aged parent and they're moving in with you or something like that, please be kind, because there are days that I wish I would have been more kind to my mother. Okay? Anyway. Oh my gosh, here we go on that tangent again. So I'm taking my Irma Bombeck book that my mother gave me for my birthday. I'm going to make a book finish, right? I'm going to put the girl on the front, the boy on the back. Oops, let me go this way. It's not going to hold very well, right? Girl on the front, boy on the back. And then at Easter, I can display the book as such. Now, yes, obviously, I'm going to be covering the book with fabric. I'm not going to let it say Irma Bombeck on the side. But I chose this book because it is still in very good shape. Might have been a little dusty at the top because it was sitting on the shelf. But it's in very good shape, and it'll stand well. Okay, I can't turn it this way because my pieces are taller. So I don't want to break the spine on this book, but I know that, you know, once I finish it, it's going to work very well. So again, everything old is new again. And I do not apologize for going down the rabbit hole with regards to my mother and how we need to treat our parents while they're still alive. Because there are days that you feel guilt. I'm not going to lie, I feel guilt, okay? So, everything old is new again. Now, I also went through my cross-stitch magazines. I pulled them out, some of them, only some of them. What I did was I pulled out some of the issues that I have from 1990. Okay? Cross Stitch and Country Crafts. I have at least 3 years of subscriptions of these. I'm just covering up my former address down there. But what I pulled this out to show you are the finishes. Now look at the picture on the shelf there. It has the male and female, the bunnies sitting there. I think it's two. Is it male and female? No, it's two girls. I should clean my glasses. Two girls. It's called, the design is called Special Sisters. You see it framed. But also right next to it, you see just the two girl bunnies in a circular frame. How many times have we sat and listened to Flosstubers or designers that say, pull out what you like from the design. You don't have to stitch the whole design if you don't like it. We're talking that now in 2024, 2025. That goes back to 1990 and before. You don't have to stitch the whole design. If you really like those two little girl bunnies and it's for you and a friend, okay, stitch it like that. Stitch it for a friend. So if you look again, that same whole design was turned into a pillow. And it was also turned into a little tiny pillow there in a grapevine wreath. How many still have grapevine wreaths in your crafts? Right? I even have that paper for the bow, probably in that same color. So when we look at things now, we look at patterns and we think, wow, what a great idea. My friend, those ideas were around a long time ago. Take a look at this. Here's this full piece. Look at the bookmark. Just part of the border was used for the bookmark. Okay, here's another one. I believe it's Stacy Nash that is doing the little, what does she call them? Cookies? Or no, animal crackers. She calls them animal crackers. And they're little stuffies. They're really cute. I'm not doing any of them because I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, right? What is this here? Look at that stuffed cat. Now, obviously, that is a lot larger. And that is a lot of stitching. Okay, same concept. Also, if you follow Lori Holt And also, if you look at Sarah, my friend Sarah, who did I just absolutely love her, from Sarah's Stitchy Spot. In her video, her closing video, she has little buttons that say stitch what you love. Okay. Lori Holt has said, if you've watched some of Lori Holt's videos, she'll say, pull out a little tiny motif from something that you're doing. Stitch it on a little piece of Aida or Lugana or linen and make a covered button out of it. My friends, 1990. Look at the buttons. Look at the buttons. And these are actual buttons that are put on clothes. 1990. It is not a new concept. And I'm not saying that these ladies are indicating that it is, right? Everything old is new again. Pull out your books. See what's in there. Use those designs. There was something in here. Now, I know that a lot of older designs are heavily backstitched. Here's another one. Look at these angels. Now here, they're made into ornaments. You can see hanging on the tree. They're made into napkin rings or just a decoration for your table. Look at your design. If there is something fiddly about it that you don't like, don't stitch that part of the design. Find something that you can put in there. You don't have to rechart. Just count. I know counting can be hard, but we would be surprised at what is available in some of our older pieces. Now look at this one. Look at this sampler. That is dated to me, okay? To me, that is dated the 90s with the mauve hearts. But why can't we take that and modernize it for colors? Now, looking at this, I'm looking at the chart here. This was all stitched in DMC. They've given all of the colors for DMC. How hard would it be if you liked that to come back and use overdyes? It's not difficult. This is a very quick stitch. This would be a very quick stitch. And yes, there is, in particular in here, back stitching. You don't have to do that, right? I mean, you might, but go through your old things and look and see what you have. These books, go my dogs again because the neighbor's dog is out. If you come back and if you look at some of these, this one I absolutely loved. Just going to pause for a minute to let them bark. Okay, they're over there barking. Actually went and warmed up my coffee. So back on track here. Here is something else. How about this? This combines quilting and cross stitch. This is not a new concept. Okay. If you look at this crazy quilt type design, you'll see that it was turned into a board, like a keepsake, like a memory board in a sense, with the fan designs and pins and buttons and things like that. And you have the cross stitch piece in the center. Okay. Combining quilting and cross stitch is not a new concept. I've done it. I have pieces that I've done that too. Now, if you also look at this, in the bottom here, she has made basically a name tag. So if you are a member of a guild or you attend functions maybe at your local senior center or things like that, or a group meeting with cross stitchers or quilters or whatever, making a little name tag like that would be very pretty. Or remember, here we go, dating myself again, our names on our desks. How about doing something like that? If you work in an office setting and you need a name tag for yourself, for your desk or whatever, nobody else is going to have something like that. But my point is, we are taking our old books and we're just perusing through to see what we can make new again. Look at this Easter design here. Look at this little chick. How cute is that? Right? Look at the beautiful egg designs. And again, these could be little motifs taken from a design. Now these are really, really done up with brocade and I mean, they're beautiful. If you have like a tree that you decorate for Easter, they're stunning, right? But look back to what you have. I know that in looking at some of these books, there are some things in here that I know I'm not going to make anymore, like tea linens. And I still have the cloth, like the bread cloth and stuff like that. They're gorgeous. I would not make a tea cozy, but that's not to say those little tiny roses on there wouldn't be very pretty if you're doing a small exchange for somebody. Maybe you have a garden party get together in the summer with some friends and you want to make everybody just a little stitch, something like that. So go through what you have, because you'd probably be surprised that a lot of what is coming out, and I'm not saying designs, because trust me, I am all about buying new patterns, and I have been. It's only the 10th of January, and I've already purchased probably 5 different patterns. It is what it is, right? But go back and look at what you have and understand that you can take a pattern and you can pull pieces out of it to suit you, right? Same thing like when I used to make garments. I might like the neckline of one style or the sleeve of something else or the bodice, and I would combine what I liked and I would make my own pattern. Why can't we? We do not have to stitch the way the pattern is designed, and your designers will tell you the same thing. Okay, here's another example of mixing embroidery with quilting. This is actually embroidery. This is by Erica Plank, and she was a quilt designer, and she did a lot of embroidery. And she came to our quilt guild the one time, and I did purchase a lot of her patterns, and they are embroidery, but she mixes them with quilts. I should have pulled out the other patterns that I have, and I did actually. I have a finished piece of a snowman hanging in my quilt studio. But look at here. All of these designs, all of these embroidery designs are of snowmen, and she turned it into a quilt. Now, mind you, this is not my kind of a quilt style, but that's not to say you could not, as a quilter, clearly take your embroidery and then do whatever kind of blocks around it that you like, right? But this is just done all in DMC in a couple shades of brown, and it might be difficult to see the actual snowmen, but they're all doing fun things. Okay, how cute would it be to take something like this and embroider it on a Christmas stocking, and then maybe cross-stitch somebody's name on the top of the stocking? The ideas are endless. They're infinite what you can do. Okay, sometimes it just takes a little bit of, ooh, you look at something and you turn around and you say, okay. So again, look at what you have and see what you can reuse. That's not to say you can't buy new things, because like I said, I've already made, I want to say I bought at least 5 patterns already. 4 or 5. I'll show you them when they actually come in. But that's not to say you can't take what you have and make it new again. Like my UFO, my temperature galaxy. I am not going to finish that, but I already have the threads pulled. I already have the breakdown for my temperatures for my area, and I can use a newer design, something that works better with my home, something that I would actually like to finish and enjoy. The temperature range does not change here. The colors are not going to change here, but what's going to change is the temperature, right? So I think that that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a look at that today, tonight, and get that set up after I start my the sale from across the pond. I have to work on that, and it's funny because, again, I generally don't stitch and hoop or use a hoop, but I am going to need something for that linen, and I just might end up using that scroll rod. And I'm not a fan of scroll rods. I always seem to get in my way, but I'll use it if I need to. So a few other things that I just want to talk on, and I know I've already gone almost an hour and a half. So if you're still with me, you know what? That's great. I showed you in a couple videos ago my ornament. It's actually on my tree over here. This is my ornament for 2025, and in my opinion, there's already too much thread in here. Some of it is from being frogged, but I have a bigger ornament this year, and I want to fill it. I want to fill this ornament. I did do my 2024 ornament, and I do have it on my craft tree, but I did use a bigger ornament this year because I want to do more stitching. I really do. I'm hoping that we can plan a little getaway this year. We normally go, there's a couple places that we like to visit. One is the Thousand Islands, Alex Bay, we call it. It's Alexandria Bay, to go to Bolt Castle. Now, let me tell you, if you have never been to Bolt Castle, please Google it and look at it. The story behind it is just amazing. I'm not going to go into it. You can go read that for yourself. But we were supposed to go in 2020, and the place where we normally stay, it's called Pinehurst on the St. Lawrence. They were going to be open, but she told me, she's like, I can't guarantee that the castle is going to be open. And Singer Castle is out there too. Singer Sewing Machine. The Singer Castle is out there. It's just a lovely, lovely place. So we're planning to go there this summer. I'm also planning to go down to Florida to visit my son and daughter-in-law and granddaughter. They were here at Christmas. It was the first time my granddaughter was ever here at Christmas. First time she has seen snow. It was wonderful, absolutely wonderful to have them here. I had all six of my grandchildren here. Honestly, I kept walking around and just saying, this is a great day. This is a great day. And I meant it deep, deep, deep in my heart to see all of my grandkids running through the house. And of course, they were making a lot of noise, which is fine. And then I went and found whistles and gave them whistles. And my sons and my daughters-in-law were rolling their eyes. I'm like, they're at grandma's. It's okay. It was wonderful. So, there are some plans to travel a little bit this year, a little bit more than what we had done in the past. So I know that my stitching, I always take things with me. The last time we went to Alex Bay or to Thousand Islands, I made a quilt. Took my sewing machine, right? So I am looking forward to doing a little bit more visiting family, things like that. So I know that I'm going to be stitching hopefully more to fill up my Ort ball, right? So there's that coming up. And just as far as moving past this cancer diagnosis, and I want to say that I left all of that in 2024. So I'm hoping that, moving forward, everything is going to be good. I don't use the word positive anymore because I don't want positive to be associated with my cancer. Okay? So there's that. All right, so I've gone on for almost an hour and a half. There's one more thing that I want to show you that I purchased. Okay, so I'm down in my sewing studio, and I'm not going to give you the whole tour because it's still kind of messy. But here's just some of the fabrics that I have that's going up on in my Etsy shop. But this is my new girl. Her name is Rhonda. Let me take off the cover. She is a Bernina 735. She is the Patchwork Edition. And the reason I purchased her was the machine that I had prior to this. I had a 780. I threw off my timing making a project bag because I was using vinyl, and it was my own stupid mistake. So anyway, I took my machine in to be repaired, and I got very mad at myself. And then I traded that in and bought this. Now, one of the reasons I did purchase this, because it is a quilter's edition, so to speak, so that, if you know anything about the feed dogs and stuff like that, it's a little bit more narrow. And on my old machine, my fabrics kept getting drawn into my feed dogs, and that just annoyed me beyond end. So this was the other purchase that I made along with my cross-stitch purchases. So, but her name is Rhonda, and this, as I said, is part of my quilt studio. I'll just give you a quick brief as I'm going up the stairs here. So here's some more fabric. Obviously, I am very behind on my calendar back there. It's more just for decoration. But here are just some of the things that I've made. And honestly, this is that Erica Plank pattern that I just talked about. This is one of hers with the snowmen, and it is embroidery, and it is combined with quilting. So again, my friends, when you are looking for patterns, take a look at what is available, and just see what you can pull out. I made this vest a long time ago. Here's some more quilting. This is one of my most favorite designers. It is, anything Kim Deal. So anyway, so I'm going to call it a day. I have been on here for an hour and a half. It's going to take a while for this to upload. I'm going to get these off because I see glare. And I'm wishing you the best. I hope you have a phenomenal stitching week ahead, whether you're cross-stitching, embroidering, quilting, whatever it is that you're doing. I hope that everybody is safe. I know that there is a lot going on out in the California area with those wildfires. I don't even have the words to describe how I feel when I see those pictures. I know there's things there. I know there's other things going on in people's lives. And I hope that each and every one of you have peace and calm, and that you find somebody that can help you if you need it. If you are somebody that is offering help to somebody, my suggestion to you is don't just say, hey, call me if you need me. Just show up. Go there. Be there for them. Because sometimes when we say, hey, just call me if you need me, that person is not going to call you. And I'm speaking from experience, okay? If you are truly willing to help somebody, please go. Show up. I hope you all have a great week. I'll probably be back in a week. Like I said, radiation starts for me next week, so it's kind of interesting to see how things are going to be. So I hope that your DMC never runs out and that your floss doesn't get in a knot. We'll see you soon.